Come here now, girl.
Hello and welcome to WhatMap, your one-stop shop for everything workshop. I'm BonBonB and you're very, very welcome. Right, it's Tuesday's request day. Today's map was requested quite some time ago and it's one I've been looking forward to because in theory it should be the best map on the workshop. Why? Well, it's taken one of the most iconic maps on the workshop and then another one of the most iconic maps on the workshop and finally a third and final iconic map from the workshop and basically jigsawed them together. It should be unquestionably the most outstanding map that there is. But does the sum of all three separate parts add up to the sum of one? Not long to find out, but first of all some outstanding paperwork from last week. Don't remember the map on Saturday? It was by this dude here who wanted you to vote up his map. Now I asked for your ratings for aesthetics, for detail, and for gameplay potential. I'm going to take the averages of your scores. The averages are going to be slightly below your averages because when a few of you were giving me like 4.8 and 4.2, I rounded those down to 4s. So let's see how it goes anyway. Ready? So what do you think of this map? Well, aesthetically, you liked it on the whole. Some of you really loved it. Some of you felt it just didn't quite hit the mark. But overall, we managed to get about a 4.4. So we're going to go just slightly below middle 4 for aesthetics. For detail, well, it worked out exactly the same in terms of average scores. Some of you absolutely thought the detailing was insane. Others thought, well, it fell down a little bit. But overall, average score was 4.4, so just below middle 4 again. Finally, gameplay potential. Well, this is the one where you didn't quite agree with me, and I've managed to get a 3.8 from you guys. So, medium-high 3-star map for gameplay. I'm telling you guys, you're wrong. You're all wrong. You're so wrong. I'm still giving myself the BonBonB seal of approval, though. I don't care. It's my map. Right, okay, so that's that done. Let's crack on with, daily reminder time, I would imagine, just about now. That's right, clicking that like button really does support the channel, gets me seen by more people and helps me grow a little bit more every single day. Thank you for your support. Today's map is Mashup. What a perfect name for this. Perfect name by Sir Moc. We've done Sir Moc in the past. Titan Sea, do you remember that? Another iconic map. They do like their iconic maps to Sir Moc. There's your start square and certainly looks pretty striking. And then you've got terrain heights, which are basically pretty striking. It's a very striking set of three maps. You couldn't put 3 more striking maps together if you tried. Resources, mostly some strong blocks of fertile land with some forestry as well. And if you have Sunset Harbour and you want to do some fishing, your fishing map will look like this. Okay, off to the workshop. What do we need? Well, it's a vanilla map. No mods are required. No DLC is required. We'll be using the Rhinestone Island LUT and theme. Although the theme isn't listed there, we'll still be using it anyway. It loaded automatically and I think it's a small push. It's not exactly the most aesthetically pleasing of all the themes out there. It's almost quite vanilla in the way that it appears. Just slightly higher texture quality, I would say. Right, okay, so down to ground level in a Mashup by Sir Moc. And we are right out by the edge of the map here. So I think a few encroaching trees and slightly clunky highway here is going to be overlookable. Overlookable? Yes, I'm going with it. Overlookable is what it is. But it doesn't really get much better, I'm sorry to say. A little bit of striking blue mantle going on there if you get down to the wrong angle. Again, we are still a long way out, so again, blue mantle at that location, not the world's biggest problem. Then we have a slightly janky bridge there. Is that a jinky bridge? It's a jinky bridge. And more encroaching trees. In fact, we're not going to mention the trees anymore. I think you're going to spot them, so I think we'll just not mention those. The roads are a bit wibbly wobbly, a little bit left, a little bit right, and plenty of practice, I would suggest, with the networking tools required for Sir Moc there. A little bit of glitching and gouging where we have elevated at ground level there. Don't mind it so much, it just needs to be smoothed out a little bit. I don't mind that so much. Oh, the blue mantle is always a big fail though. Yeah, it's where you get something like that where you're elevated at ground level. Just clean up the edges. It's not a very big job. Also, 4 lanes. 4 lanes. Hang on. 4 lanes is mass transit. Mass transit is not listed in the requirements, and that means, oh dear. Now, I have tested the map. That is the only section of mass transit road on the map, and the map does load in. And the traffic is getting to the start square, so it's strictly speaking not 100% broken. But strictly speaking, it is a little bit hampered. So there is that. You might consider all these trees on the road some kind of hampering. I would say that they are, if you want them removed, if you want nice realistic looking roads without trees growing through them. And yes, this is a vanilla map, so the usual rules apply. Typically speaking, the average player playing this won't really be having the anarchy switched on because they won't know what anarchy is, so there is that going for it. But there is a lot of trees under the highway, and that's a lot of trees out of the tree count being used, and it's probably something that shouldn't be overlooked. Right, start square intersection is quite a pretty one actually, and even that little opening between the 2 highways there, that's almost perfect as well. Just short of, just shy of perfect. I think possibly just because the intersection is built on a slope. So that's probably the only thing that's making that intersection just look a little bit wibbly. Anyway, heading up a very steep looking hill here, and those trucks are going to enjoy that one, aren't they? And then suspension bridge. Everybody loves a big old suspension bridge, and that just like pops across the middle there. And a little bit of glitching again on the side of the riverbank. Now it's getting really high, which means that the camera's going to bounce around a little bit because, well, the height that I fly at is by how far you are above the ground. If the ground suddenly drops away, the camera also drops away. And we also have a little bit more blue mantle over here, which is going to be visible halfway across the map. This is a nice looking intersection on here, which we'll take a look at in the second half of the show. And then there's a big old bridge. Big old bridge. Everybody loves a big old... Yeah, my camera doesn't. And then, this rock on the highway. That's put on the vanilla rock there. It's just clipping through. So it's trees and rocks on the highway. And now we are very much into delta ranged area, and it's just climbing up the side of a steep old cliff face. The edges of the terrain is just a little bit glitchy. Big old drop there. Also some shark's teeth on the edge here. This map, it's a great concept. It's a great concept, and I applaud Sir Moc for coming up with the concept. I wouldn't have even considered putting these 3 maps together. I mean, possibly the 2, but Grimsoy is the 3rd, as you know, from a snowfall map into a tropical island map or a tropical scenario map. I wouldn't even considered it, and it's great vision. Unfortunately, sometimes having great vision just isn't quite enough to make a map really pop. Now, there are plenty of top creators out there who could probably take this and make it shine to the nth degree. I'm not sure that I particularly want to see it. I'm not sure that each individual one of these maps was a marvel of its own. Whether you liked them was a different story. Grimsoy, undoubtedly one of the great snowfall maps. Delta Range Enhanced and the third one. These maps are striking, memorable, And the strong maps are strong maps. Whether you like them, different story. Rail, hang on, is this the tunnel? Is this the, it looks very flat. Does the tunnel follow that path? Hang on. No, straight line. Well, I'm sorry, I'll take that back. I thought we were looking at a tunnel just like emerging slightly above ground level, but no, not at all. Hey, so there you go. I'm not going to point fingers when you've done nothing wrong there. The rail drops down here and emerges over here. The next part, this part of the rail route here, the standards maybe not, but the route I really like here. From here, across to this rocky island, across to the left, and then that route there. Something about that, as I was flying over it, felt quite magical. And you're not seeing it because we're going over it at a higher speed, and there's all the distractions of the trees on the line. Trust me, that little bit there shines. Just doesn't really jump. This jumps. This is like a roller coaster over the hill there. Probably could have done the tunnel there as well, Sir Moc. And then we are heading off towards the edge of the map. Right, so what we'll do is we'll do the intermission, then we'll do the shipping, then we'll do the water flow. I'll take a look at a few. Oh, speaking of water flow, this river here has got some choppy water going on. That is perma, that one. That never settles down. And I forget to go back to show you later, so just take my word on it. That water stays choppy all the way to the end. Speaking of the end, that's the end of the first half of the show.
Do your cul-de-sacs look like this? Do you want them to look like this? Then you need the Beginner's Guide to the Perfect Cul-de-sacs by BonBonB. Click the information button now.
And so back to Mashup by Sir Moc and the shipping routes. Well, as you'd expect, we do have shipping routes, so we can access pretty much all of the nooks and crannies by some slight jinky jankies, but nothing that you can't get around. Through some narrow passes, and it's gonna work fine. For the map that we've got, I'm very happy with the shipping routes. It's a bit of a sharp right angle turn there, so maybe some shipping triangles to allow for a smoother flow. And then through here, very narrow pass there. You might get a bit of bounce off the side, but it'll be fine. It'll be fine. Okay, water flow. If we go down to the start square, we have a little river here that is going to carry a little bit of water through. Keep it moving into this bay area, which is probably where you're going to be drawing and pumping. Oh, there's a sad looking tree there. Sad looking tree. But yes, if you do your drawing from here, you might actually drain that area enough for that tree to be on dry land. Anyway, pump your sewage out through here and you'll have a nice clear pollution free area. So across the map as a whole, you can actually see how the bits come together. It's very striking, it's very memorable. It's one of those things that I don't think you forget. Once you've seen this episode, you won't forget this map. Whether you choose to want to play it or not, I do not know, but there is that one. This is a 7th island area here. Not too much to say around abouts here. We've got a couple of nipples going on in the environment, but it's obviously a chilly day in Mashup land. So yeah, there's not going to be too much in the way of activity going on over here, unless you can really get up into that area. This intersection, I love the way that it's been done on the mountain there. It clings on. It's of a pretty decent standard, excluding of course the clipping, the trees that are clipping through. And let's have a quick skirt around here. I have stored into the memory some areas of interest, like here. Now we've got this intersection with the retaining wall, the vanilla key, and that is of a pretty decent standard. And if only they could all be of this standard. And I mean, not just around the world, but on this map. Because if we go to another location like this one, we've got exactly the same work, but we have got some serious glitching and shark's teeth going on with that one. So the same job, 2 different locations, 2 vastly different results in terms of standards. Then we have, came over here to show you not so much the trees that are floating above the tunnel entrance. Always be aware of that can happen. but another tree issue. And this isn't going to bother so many people, but it bothers me. Because trees like light. And, well, you're not going to find many trees that are growing in caves. Come on, guys. Give your trees the light that they deserve. Yes, I'm aware that floating trees on the tunnel entrance is probably a bigger problem, technically speaking. And then, all told, I think we've got a pretty sound shape of a map. The design works very nicely. Down to the start square, and let's have a look at that drowned tree. There you go. Yes, drain that area. That's what you do. Drain it or raise it. Give him the dry roots that his mother wished him to have as a sapling. Anyway, over here we have that intersection and the start square, which is decently flat, one would say. And one of these. An asset of the day. This is from jorge.puerta, who we did a couple of weeks ago, and they're definitely producing some very nice stuff. Very nice. Hills View Apartments, this one. And this definitely has got a view of hills, where I plopped it here. Very nicely detailed as well. Got 1 or 2 extra subscriptions required, but they are all linked into on the workshop page. And factoids, because factoids. Here's a nice one. Please tell me you're not eating. You're not eating, not drinking? No? Good. Just want to get out of the way. Again, from the 1980s, but I suspect this is probably even worse now than it was then. Every day, the streets and parks of London are doused with over 100,000 gallons of urine. Now, I have spoken to Boris Johnson about this one when he was the Mayor of London. I said, can you stop peeing everywhere? And he refused. And this is why he has the bike, to get around London so he could pee into all of the nooks and crannies. Hills View Apartments by jorge.puerta. Very nice work. Keep them coming, please. And so back to the map as a whole. And it is a whole. Wholly different. What do you think of it? Is it a 1-star map? Is it a 5-star map? Is it somewhere in between? Your vote really does count. We use it at the end of the month for the Viewer's Choice Top 10. Will this be one of the top 10 maps of the month? Only you can decide. Hit the I button now in the top right corner of your screen. It'll take you to the voting page where you can vote for free with a Facebook, Gmail or a Patreon account, or even Apple. And if you don't have an I button in the top right corner of your screen, you can see the link in the description as well. But what do I think of today's map? Well, as a concept map, it's definitely a concept. I don't think we can argue with that one. They've chosen some 3 very strong maps to work with and made them work. I think we can give credit for that. Don't really feel it as a 4-star map though. Partly the vanilla-ishness of it. Vanilla-ishness? Yeah, go with that. But yeah, it doesn't quite work for me. But I'm going to give it a strong 3 stars though, regardless. Detailing. Yeah, it needs a lot of work. It's definitely subpar. I'm going to go for a medium-high 2 stars, but plenty of time spent on this one. It'd be very nice indeed. Gameplay potential. It feels playable. It looks playable. It looks like it needs some fixing as you're going along, but nothing that a standard player wouldn't be able to fix. I'm going to go 3 stars. I'm going to go just slightly under middle 3, because it will certainly lead for some people. Mashup by Sir Moc. That is an impact map, and congratulations. I'd like to see you try and do some of that with some of my maps. Don't think any of them fit together at all. I mean, trying to get Merrickstowe, Bonbon Island and St Catherine's Point into one map, it would not happen. They're just too different. Anyway, what won't be difficult for you, in fact it won't be too hard at all, is to use the word of the day into the comments as part of a sentence to score yourself some population points just for fun. And I'll be back tomorrow with another What's Map. Thanks for watching.